friends! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kate, and today I'm going to be going over everything I got up to in the month of November. If you're new to my channel, or if you just haven't checked out these videos before, at the end of every month I create a wrap-up of pretty much everything I got up to in the month but didn't get to show you guys. So I'll update you on all the games I play and the progress I made on them, as well as all of the books I read and what I thought about them. To start with, we're going to jump right into the game section, so let's dive in and get to talking about everything I played in the month of November. Okay, to start with, as usual, we have Genshin Impact because it's what we always start with. It just feels right, so we must dive into it first. Although, unfortunately, there is not much for me to show on here this month. Unfortunately, this month has just not been a good grind month for me, or like game month, reading month, anything month. I have just been in the biggest slump of my life. I think just around the holidays and time change and everything, it just makes life really hard. So we're just out here living, trying to survive the year, and it's okay that, you know, we're not getting that much done. There's always next month, right? But very first up, I completed the little event thing to get a constellation for an older character, and I chose Yoimiya because I want to build her soon. So I now have C1 Yoimiya, which hopefully I figured this was probably the best constellation out of what my options were, and especially since she is going to be one of my priorities super soon, I hope. I also splurged and spent some money since I built Fischl, and I purchased her little outfit since unfortunately I did miss the event in which you got it for free. That's okay. And last but not least, let me show you my Durin pulls. I have 27 pulls saved for him, and I believe I'm at like 60 pity, and I am guaranteed, so I will most likely be getting him, and you guys will see the little pull video as well as me ascending him if that's something that you want to see, so be on the lookout for that. Hopefully my son will be home soon. But now let's hop into the next game. I genuinely don't think anyone is ready for what I'm about to tell you happened to me in Honkai Star Rail this month. A lot. So buckle in. Buckle in, it was a really good month Honkai Star Rail wise. So, at the very beginning of the update, the very first thing that happened to me was I did a random 10 pull on the Siren banner, and at 70 pity, I won the 50-50 and I brought her home. Honestly, I know a lot of people are just like really not happy about her. That's completely valid. I pulled her strictly because her character design is so pretty to me. I could not resist having her. I know it's going to take a bit of effort and work to get her in a playable place, but I am willing to do it. Then I was like, okay, it's probably not going to happen, but I'm going to start pulling on Tribby banner, right? Let's start building pity on Tribby banner because Tribby is like a must-have. I need her, especially for a lot of teams that I have. Yeah, and then at 20 pity, I won another 50-50 and she came home. Literally at 20 pity. I could not tell you how good I felt that day. Life felt unreal. To get Cyrene and then 20 pulls later win another 50-50, two 50-50s. And then I was just doing single pulls at that point on High Scene banner, and 8 pulls in I lost the 50-50, and at 8 pity I lost the 50-50. But at 8 pity, guys, I lost the 50-50 at 8 pity. So now I'm guaranteed for whatever character I want. And I have is it Sealy? I didn't have her before, so this is my first copy of her, so I honestly was still happy to have gotten her at all, I think, and especially at 8 pity, I will never complain. Now, I have one more Hoyo game to talk to you about, but like I said, nothing is going to be as amazing as Honkai Star Rail, so just keep that in mind as we continue this wrap-up. This actually happened to me this morning after doing my dailies. I decided to pull on Hugo's banner. I had been saving all my pulls for, I didn't know who yet, but once I saw Hugo was on the banner, I was like, yep, Hugo, that's who, because I missed him on his first run, so it only makes sense that I do this. But unfortunately, I did go to about hard pity, I believe. I think it was like 80 pulls. And
I only handle technical
yeah, I got
matters.
another copy of Grace. So this puts me at Cinema 1. I have Cinema 1 Grace, C1, I guess it's still. Why do I keep getting Grace? Is it because that's my middle name? Like what? Why? At least I'm guaranteed, but I don't even know if I want to save or try to continue building pity. Rough stuff. You guys let me know what you're doing, please. Okay, next up is Wuthering Waves, and it was another unfortunate month. I was trying to pull for Chisa. I was so excited for her release, and I really hoped that my 5-star would be her, but unfortunately I lost a 50-50 and you'll never guess who I ended up with again. I now have S2 Lion Boy, thank you so much, Ling Yang, for always deciding to let me lose the 50-50 in IPU. No Encore, really? Like, Encore would be the most beneficial character I could get from the standard, if not Verena, but I have a lot of copies of Verena. But yep, no limited characters this month on Wuthering. But maybe December will be different for us because it's a holiday month, and now I'm guaranteed, so if I can just grind out enough pulls for Chisa, we're chillin'. I have one last gacha game I'm going to talk about. I did start Duet Night Abyss in the month of November, but I don't really have much to show you on there, so just know I did that. That did happen. All those videos are on my channel, all the progress I've made on them so far at least. So if you are curious in any way about that, you can find that there. But now let's jump into the last gacha of the month. How is there another update? I literally got on the game this morning. I did not spend any money in Infinity Nikki once again, so you already know my pulls are going to be pretty unfortunate. But I did successfully finish a couple 4 stars, so I do want to show that off. But first, I want to show I got 4 pieces of this Nameless Selfless 5-star. This was the last limited 5-star. I did really like it, but it wasn't something I adored enough to pull all the pieces for, obviously. Oh my gosh, they changed the clothing evolution, so I'm like struggling a bit. Give me a second. I thankfully completed the 2 4 stars that I wanted most, which were, of course, this little mushroom outfit, Glimmering Forest. I wish I could have pulled it twice, but thankfully, I don't love the evolution as much as I just love the original bright red mushroom. It is so cute. It's so mush fairy. You guys already knew I had to pull it, okay? But the other outfit I pulled was the one on the 5-star banner, and it is this Dreamlike Night. I just love this. I don't feel like I have a lot of like black outfits on here, and it's a must, especially the tights. The evolution is pretty as well, but like I said, I didn't do a lot of pulls on that main banner. I just was most wanting these 4 stars, and thankfully I ended up with them, so we can be happy as we dive into the new big update where I feel like I am going to be lacking. So we'll see in December. Now I'm going to hop into the non-gachas. The first one is going to be one on my PC, and then we'll switch to my Nintendo Switch. Haha, get it? Switch to my Switch. I had been craving a good old farming game this month, and of course, Dreamlight Valley got my attention again. Obviously, there was the new big update, so of course that drew me to it again, and I felt like I needed to at least give it a try and dive back in. I did not buy the new DLC though, only because I bought the previous ones and then of course made no progress on them. But my main focus for this month was Eternity Isle. You can see that by my little robot outfit. If you know why I'm wearing this. But I mainly have just been trying to get my Eternity Isle quest finished to the point that this area is a little bit more usable, even though I haven't even done that with the first area. I unlocked this little goofy shop. I need to upgrade it all the way. I definitely have the money, but I'm just stingy, I guess. I also completed the quest to get Scrooge's shop here. So now I have 2 shops I can look through. I also progressed the story enough to get, I'm still trying to get Remy's little restaurant here. Hopefully you'll see an update on that soon. But I progressed the bridge quest, which is how you can get over here to both the plains and the grasslands. So I now have this desert unlocked, and I did go ahead and get the shops and the wells for them unlocked because that feels like the most important thing and the first step before you really dive into them. Because if you're going to work on quests and stuff in that area, you definitely want to have a quick way to travel to it. But here is the grasslands that I have unlocked, which once again, like I mentioned, I have this, and I believe there is a... Yes, here it is. The well is up here and it's unlocked. I am still progressing the quest, so these areas are a little bit messy still, but I'm very happy to like be fixated on this game again because it's a lot of fun and there's so much content in it that every time I come back, I'm like, man, there's always going to be so much to do. I'm never going to have to fear that I'm going to run out of stuff to do in this game. And that's one of my favorite things. And also, I love my little capybara because, look, she helps me find things. We love her. But now let's hop onto my Switch and I'll show you the last game things that I have to update you on. It was at this moment that I realized, there is no audio for this segment. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know how this happened to me. I guess I switched in OBS and I just forgot to pay attention to the fact that, hey, girl, there's no volume. So, sorry that you can't hear me here. I was just rambling on about how I was kindly sent this copy of Gudetama Run. I was sent a code for the eShop to be able to play it for free, and I have yet to dive into it, but I'm very excited about it. So hopefully in the next month I'll have a little bit to share with you about that, but that's what that was. And now I wanted to dive into Pokemon Friends. This is a game I started for the first time this month. Honestly, I heard nothing about it. I really don't even remember seeing anything about it, which was what was most shocking to me. And when I saw the concept was literally do mini games, puzzles to unlock yarn to make plushies, I knew it was perfect for me. Essentially, every day you are given these different brain teasers or puzzles to solve, and once you complete them, you get yarn. And with that yarn, you can put it into this little Pokeball machine, and you are given the cutest plushies, which you can then use to decorate. I literally was so excited to see Quagsire and Sobble here. I was squealing. Sorry that you don't even get to hear that. These are what my rooms look like. The one that I'm working on now is a little bit of a mess, but I do have the previous room that I did, and this one I'm a lot more happy with. I think it's really cute. It's got the majority of my first plushies that I made, and I'm very proud of it, so I hope you like it. This is such a silly game. I would love to hear if any of you have tried it yet, or if you have any interest in it. If you heard about it, or if you haven't heard about it, please let me know. But now we'll dive into the next game, which, don't worry, this is when I realized there was no sound, so you don't have to deal with this for much longer. This is me realizing that my mic wasn't on this whole time. Sorry about that, guys. Not the whole time, but just the time we've been on my Switch. This always happens to me. But let's dive into Animal Crossing. I have just been sitting here yapping about how excited I am for the new update that's coming and how I've been dedicating so much time to this game. I've been putting so many hours into it again. It feels like 2020 all over again to me in terms of like how much I'm playing this game. I redid my island with you guys. I think it was last August maybe. And so this island is now like my baby and I can't see myself ever changing it. So I think Mushville is just going to be my home forever. And especially now that they have added now with the update where they're making it so you can decorate other islands without having to reset your own, I think that's going to be pretty awesome. I did my very, very best to decorate my island. I kind of put a couple things in front of the museum, and the main thing that I did, guys, was this little entrance. I spent a lot of time just trying to create a no terraform entrance, and if you know, you know, that's kind of rough. So I did get all these paths and things from Pinterest, and I just grinded for quite a bit to get this little entrance done, as well as I grinded for money because I wanted to get bridges and inclines. So we've got a couple of those now. I do want to show you my map because it's been so long since we last played this together. This way you can see all of the villagers I have and just what my map looks like. I am very proud of it. And in fact, the reason I wanted to tell you all this is because I reached a 3-star island. Finally. It is usually always the hardest thing for me to do, and surprisingly it feels like I just sat down and grinded this game and it felt like it happened in no time. It's also Thanksgiving, which is so cute. It's like the perfect time to be filming a video like this, which makes me happy, even though I can't really even dive into this at this moment, but it's okay. But yeah, that's gonna be it for all the games I have to show you. So I really hope you enjoyed hearing me yap about them. Let me know the games that you played, and let's go ahead and dive into the books. Okay, now we have made it to the second half of the video, which is going to be all of the books that I read. And I will admit, November was not the best reading month for me, but to be fair, if you saw games-wise, I wasn't really playing a lot either. It was another one of those months where I feel like I was, unfortunately, extremely slumped just throughout the entirety of it, so hopefully December is going to be a better month for me, but if not, we're just going to say, we're going to go ahead and claim that 2026 is going to be my year. I need to go ahead and pull up my Fable so that I can just look at everything that I read and make sure that I have it all in my head before I get to talking about it. And if you see me look down at my phone at any point, that's what I'm referencing, because when I do so much in a month, it kind of is hard for me to remember what exactly I did specifically in that month, but then also particular things I thought in that moment throughout the month. So I like to make little notes so I can remind myself when I come back to make these videos. The very first book I read was a continuation of a series that I started last month, and that is the Four Horsemen series by Laura Thalessa. I read the second book, which is War. This one, obviously, I feel like if you couldn't tell by the series name and also the book name, these books are each based on one of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. The first one that I read was Pestilence, and the second one here is War. It's definitely a little bit bigger. This book follows War and Miriam. Miriam's world is sort of just crashing around her as war sweeps through her town and everywhere, demolishing what is left of civilizations. It surrounds her with loss, and unfortunately one day she does happen to stumble upon War, who corners her and then demands that she be his wife. Of course, you know, makes sense, right? She is spared from death because of it, because he has this attraction to her and he claims her as his wife, so he says, okay, I'm going to spare you from dying. You will be forced to go with me and watch me take over and spread war among the lands, but you won't be able to do anything about it, and you'll be forced to just be alive throughout it. She is unable to stop him, but that doesn't mean she stops trying. It is always in the back of her head, and she is always scheming on how she can try to get Ward to stop his mad plans. I will say I do enjoy that the pacing of this book was very similar to the first, in the sense that you jump right into the action pretty much from the first page, and the story just continues from there. There's not really any slow points. It stays consistently chaotic from page 1 to the very last page. Immediately though, I will admit I did not like War. It took a very long time for him to come around for me, and in my ranking of the Four Horsemen men that I know so far, I would say that I think Pestilence would still be on top of War for me. But although I liked the first man more, I enjoyed the story of this second book more than the first. The ending was so good. It lined up perfectly, obviously, of course, because it's a series, for the next book, and how they led into the final chapter, I loved. There was nothing about this book that I wasn't. Honestly, even to this day, I'm still thinking about. I cannot wait to pick up the next book in the series, and honestly, I'm a little nervous what I'm going to do when I finish the series. I know that this author writes other series with maybe similar kind of fantasy-ish plots, so I'll definitely want to give them a try, but being halfway through this series does make me nervous, so I took a pause from the series for the month and we picked up something different for our next book. Oh, before we stop talking about this book though, let me tell you that I rated it 4.5 stars, which I believe is higher than Pestilence. If I remember correctly, Pestilence was probably only rated 4 or 4.25 stars. So, very good book, very highly recommend, but this is another one that I'd recommend. Make sure you're in like a fantasy spooky mood, because it's that type of book, and if you're not in the mood for it, at least me, I am a really big mood reader. I feel like you might not enjoy it if it's not picked up at the right time. But the next book I read was another one that was supposed to help me kind of get into the fall, wintry spirit, and that is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. I rated this one 3.75 stars. I read this one on Kindle because it is on Kindle Unlimited. This is the perfect fall cozy read to bundle up with like a warm drink and a blanket while you're in bed. I will say it's nothing extraordinary, but it is a really good fun read that I would recommend. It's a nice distraction from the real world, and it reads like an episode of Gilmore Girls, which is much appreciated because that's one of my favorite shows, especially during this time of the year to watch. So having a book that kind of brings that feeling home is perfect. The drama in this book is what keeps the pages turning. It's kind of what is the main content of the story. It's not going to be a book that changes your life, but I think it's a good one to keep you company in the colder months when you just need something to cheer you up, bring a little sense of home to you. I think you'll enjoy diving into this world with Logan and Jeannie, the two main characters. Maybe even enough to continue the Dream Harbor series. I'm not sure how many books are going to be in the series when it's finished. I don't know if it's completed yet, but there are definitely a couple more books, and I know they all kind of take place around different holidays, different seasons, so they're all supposed to bring you different cozy holiday vibes. I am very excited to continue this series and jump into the Christmas books in it. So hopefully in December you will see me reading more books by this author, because I really felt like the characters and the town within this book were memorable enough for me to want to dive into books on the other characters that you meet in this town of Dream Harbor. Now, the next book I read is one that I started in preparation of the next season of Bridgerton, which I believe the first half of it comes out in January, and I could not be more excited. And that is An Offer from a Gentleman by Julia Quinn. I rated this book 4 stars. I think this is my highest rated Bridgerton book. This is the 3rd book in the Bridgerton series, but my 4th Bridgerton book that I've read, because I have been reading the books in the same order that they're releasing the seasons on Netflix. So I kind of have been reading the series a little out of order, but only because I want to be caught up for when I watch the show. This did have me bouncing around a little bit with the plot of the show, so I will say there are some things that in the show that are like placed differently than they are in the book, so it does get a little confusing, but this is just the way that I prefer to do it. You definitely don't have to read it this way. Obviously, it's not the recommended way to read it because it's not like numerical order. But with all that being said, this was very easily my favorite Bridgerton book that I've read, and I'm hoping that that means this season will be my favorite season to watch. I already always had a soft spot for Benedict, but this book just made it, I don't know, somehow even softer, if that were possible. The plot really gives Cinderella, but a bit more complex. Like, I like that they took the Cinderella kind of vibes, but but made it a bit more complex and also made the characters a lot deeper and also, in my opinion, a lot more likable. The book flowed so well. I actually listened to the audiobook of this and also read it on Kindle Unlimited. Benedict and Sophia have my entire heart, and I really cannot wait to see them on the screen and see how they portray this story. Even Violet won me over even more throughout this book because of the way that she handled so many different situations. I felt like with this book in particular, we got to see a different side of the Bridgerton family, even though it's still this high-class society vibe. Like, you get almost this behind the curtain look at the family and who they are as people, and I love that. I feel like this book has everything that you could want from a romance novel, especially if you want like a timepiece. It just, in my opinion, it was done so well, and like I keep saying, it is my favorite of the Bridgerton books that I've read so far. So keep that in mind if you're looking for a new book to read and you want to be prepared before the new season comes. I'm telling you, you might like this one. The next book I read was an audiobook, but I believe I also bought it on my Kindle, and that is Any Trope But You by Victoria Levine. I rated this 3.25 stars. This book actually was recommended to me on Libby. It was one of the audiobooks that was instantly available, and I was like, okay, you know, I think I want to give it a try. Right off the bat, I will say I did not love the male main character. His name is Forrest. He is the grumpy male main character. He runs an inn in Alaska. But to get to Alaska, let's start with the plot of the book. Sorry. This book is about a romance author, Margot, who is forced to take a remote trip to Alaska after her secret endings to her romance novels got released. Turns out she's not the biggest fan of happily ever afters, so she started her own little private happily never afters, which are all these alternate endings for all the books that she's written, where all the characters don't have happy endings. And unfortunately, somebody leaked all of her happily never after documents. So she is forced to take a remote trip to Alaska just to get a break, get away from everybody, and hopefully be able to write a new book and get away from this scandal that she has accidentally caused herself. This woman has had her heart broken, she no longer believes in love, and she really is going to Alaska for no other reason than she was encouraged by her sister, and she's like, okay, this is just what I need to do. I need to do this for my career, and she is kind of completely sworn off love, of course, until the grumpy innkeeper Forrest. There were a few different moments with Forrest where I was like, I really don't like him as a character. He's doing things that if a man did that in front of me at any point, I think I would run the other direction. So there were a couple moments like that where I just was like, maybe he's just not the man for me. But of course, that ultimately makes me lower my rating because I'm just not quite sure how I feel about this guy. But with that being said, I did also feel like there were so many extremely meaningful moments throughout this book that will probably stick with me, even though this male main character will not. It wasn't the most life-changing story, but the vibes definitely fit the fall-winter weather that we're going through right now, as well as it was a really quick and decent read, so I recommend it. Now, we have got to the very last thing that I read this month, and of course, you guys probably already know I continued my Fruits Basket journey because every month I have to have a little bit of Fruits Basket thrown in there as kind of a palate cleanser. And so after all of these heavier books and just winter-themed books, I guess, holiday-themed books, I wanted to jump right into Fruits Basket. So I started volume 11. I rated this 3.75 stars. I would say this volume was probably one of the heavier ones, at least the heaviest one that I think I've read so far in all 11. It was also so relatable in some senses that I just was like, man, I think this was the perfect time to pick up this volume. Like, this is what I needed at this moment. I think this volume is kind of supposed to fill you in on different character dynamics and also sort of introduce internal struggles with characters. I definitely can't wait to pick up the next volume. In fact, it is Thanksgiving right now, so we still have a few days until it's technically December. I think I will probably have finished volume 12 by the end of November, and although it's not going to be in this wrap-up, if you have Fable, you can find my Fable and see all the reviews that I leave for these books, as well as I have a book club that we do every month, and we're actually just now picking our next book for December, so make sure you check that out if you're interested. But anyway, all that being said, if you are curious or just want to see my full thoughts on any of these books, like I said, my Fable will be linked in the description so you can see that, and you can keep up with anything that doesn't get mentioned in my wrap-up videos. But now, with all of that, I think that it's going to bring us to the end of today's video. Thank you all so much for sticking around and watching another wrap-up video. It is so insane to think that we only have one more for the year of 2025 and it won't even be uploaded until 2026, so this is technically like the last wrap-up video that'll be uploaded in 2025? Guys, this year has gone by so quick. I can't believe it. Please give me recommendations for games, books, anything down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you got up to in the month of November. Also, don't forget my Discord server is always linked in the description below for anyone that would like to join, as well as I have a membership here on YouTube which gives you early access to my uploads. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye!